Good evening all. Tonight we're going to make one of my absolute favourites. It's Gochujang chicken wraps. It's got a coleslaw in it that we're going to make, and I'm also making sweet potato wedges with that. It's Gochujang paste. You can pick it up from the supermarket. I'm using boneless chicken thighs because I'm not really a big chicken breast person, so I'd rather have the chicken thighs. The actual sauce that goes into it has got honey, gochujang, and garlic. The coleslaw will have ranch coleslaw mix. The ranch I'm going to have with my wedges, so that's that. And it's also got just round lettuce as well, so that will be chopped up, put into a bowl. Once that's put into the bowl, it will have the mayonnaise to go in there with it. Also rice vinegar, and because of the rice vinegar is quite strong, what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of sugar in there as well, just to sweeten it up a little bit. We're just having mini tortillas with it. We'll have 2 of those with it each. This meal is, I'm doing for 3 people, so we'll get 2 boneless chicken thighs each. With this, I worked out the price of the meal because I already had some of the stuff in the cupboard. So I already had the honey in the cupboard, the garlic and the oil and a few bits and bobs in there already. It worked out to about £4.75 a person. So it's actually quite an expensive meal. But because there's only the 3 of us, there is going to be stuff left over. So for example, with tortillas, there's going to be 2 of the tortillas left. There'll be some of the salad left. So we'll be able to have the leftover wraps for lunch. We can put something else in with that, ham or whatever, that can go in there, so that's going to be used. So that takes a bit of the price down. And then sort of bought the mayo. Obviously I won't be using the whole tub of mayo, so yeah, so that's that one. So the first thing we've got to do for this meal actually is to make the coleslaw mix, because of it needs to marinate. So basically I've got a bowl here for the coleslaw mix. In here is literally just, you get it from the supermarket, it costs about £1.30, I think that's how much that costs us. So all we do, literally tip that into there, get your ranch dressing out. I don't think that would be very nice to eat in a wrap. And in here somewhere, right, there we go, there's some herby breadcrumbs. I do like them on top of the wrap as well, but I'm the only one who has that. Nobody else likes that here. So that basically just goes in the bowl. Then what we've got to do is we've got to cut the lettuce. Now quite often I'll use baby gem lettuces, but they actually didn't have any in stock. So the best way to do this, you've got your lettuce, literally push the heart in like so. Just pull it out, and that takes the middle of the lettuce out. That there will stop you having to cut into it in triangles, having a big bit. That's done now. So that's the bottom of the lettuce completely cutting out the way. That's just going to leave us with plain leaves all the way through, like so. So there's no great big bits of lettuce in there. So this obviously needs cutting and then washing. So all it is literally thin slices. We really don't want it to be massive, otherwise you're just going to have a mass of lettuce in with the coleslaw. So don't need too much of that because you don't want to overpower it. So I've quickly put it in a colander. I'm just going to go and rinse it out, so I'll just quickly pause while I rinse. So the lettuce is all rinsed out now. So what we're going to do is we'll put this in with the coleslaw mix. Just goes in there. I haven't put all of it in, I've set some of it aside at the moment. We can add more after, so just mix it all in together. So first step is adding mayonnaise. I've chosen light mayonnaise. Obviously if you don't like light mayonnaise you can just use normal mayonnaise. And also it would be quite nice if you had it with like a garlic mayonnaise. That would be quite nice. So it's normally around half a bottle of mayonnaise has to go into this because you want it coated. If you can coat it and it's got less, then obviously that's better. But you want all of it coated. So quickly coat that. Doesn't have to be thickly coated, it's just so you can see mayonnaise on all of it. It's just a coleslaw, so just quickly mix all that in. And a little bit more in there. So that's all completely mixed now. So with the rice vinegar, you can add it to taste, but generally I would put in just under a quarter of a bottle. So I've already got one opened, I've made this a few times. First off, just start putting a bit in, you don't want too much, and get it mixed around. You can taste as you're going, just to see if there's enough in there for you. But I think there's enough in mine because I can smell it, it's quite strong, and you don't want it massively strong. So all you've got to do now is just cover that at the moment and just set that aside once it's covered. We'll have to keep coming back to this every now and again, just giving it a quick stir. That's all it is, because otherwise the vinegar is just going to sit at the bottom of the bowl. It'll work its way and sit at the bottom of the bowl. So we'll just literally set this aside out of the way. And now onto the sweet potatoes. All I'm going to do is literally, I'll do one and then I'll quickly go and cut the rest of them and then come back to the video. So all I'm going to do is wedge them. So just cutting them in half and cutting them in half again. It doesn't take long. So I'm going to do that and then what I'll do is once I've cut them all, I'll come back and we can do a little drizzle and some seasoning. So I'll be back. So the potatoes are now chopped, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some oil to them. Not a great deal, there's going to be water that's going to come out of the potatoes anyway, so it's just enough to coat them a little bit, just enough like so. Let's say we don't want too much on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do salt and pepper and stick the salt and pepper on them. So this has got a mind of its own. I don't know why, but I have got normal black pepper here, so I'll put that on. And I'm going to put these in the air fryer at 180 degrees for 10 minutes. So whilst they're cooking, I'm going to start on the chicken. As I said earlier on, I've got boneless chicken thighs. These used to be cheaper, but I think supply and demand, where they were so cheap, they seem to have gone up in price. I know you can get sometimes boneless chicken drumsticks. I know that they're still quite cheap, but I can't ever seem to find them anymore. They're obviously all getting brought because they are so cheap. So all you've got to do with these is just put them there. Each one might still have fat on it, so if you don't want the fat, you can just cut the fat off from the sides. It's easy enough done. All you just do is you just get your knife, run it down and take off what you don't want. It's just the excess, but the majority of it will boil off in the pan and then you'll be tipping it away, the juice away anyway, because you don't want all the juices in there for it. Also, one thing to remember, because this was a chicken thigh, on the odd occasion when they are cut there could be a little bone left in places, so always recommend that you just check. If you feel a bone in there, just cut it out. So these are going to be cut into strips because they're obviously going to wrap, so you don't want great big chunks of chicken, so we're just going to chicken strip them, and they don't need to be cooking for too long. So What we'll do is we'll quickly just cut all of these, and whilst I'm cutting them, I should just pause it again, and I'll show you the end result once I've finished cutting. I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up properly, but right here is where I'm talking about the bones. There is a bone there that just needs to be cut out. So the chicken's now cut. I've just washed my hands in the chopping board. Always make sure you wash your hands after you've made chicken. So it's all into strips, ready to go into the pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pan over to the cooker, put some oil in, and then we'll put the chicken on. So we don't want a lot of oil, just a drizzle of oil in here. The problem with this chicken, because it is quite fatty, it's going to release quite a lot of liquid. So what we'll do is we'll put this up high temperature at first, just to let the oil get up to heat and the pan get up to heat, and then we'll put the chicken in. As I said earlier on, we most likely will have to strain the chicken because of a lot of water is going to come out of this, and with the fat on top of it, it's just going to create a massive puddle in the saucepan. So the pan's up to heat now, so what we'll do is we'll just put the chicken in, and I'm going to turn it down to about halfway. Move all the chicken about, and just let that get to cooking first. This is one of those dishes that I love it when my partner helps me, because there's so many elements to it that while she's just cooking the chicken for me, I would normally be making the salad and putting the chips on, or the wedges, whatever we're going to be having with it, sometimes onion rings, depending, and she can be standing here cooking the chicken, but she doesn't want to be on camera, so I'm having to do it tonight. Maybe one night I'll get her out here stirring for me. I just had to turn the chicken down a little bit more. It was starting to cook too quickly, so all I've done is I've just turned it down, wait for it to cook a little bit more, and then what we'll do is we'll then start turning it all over. Whilst I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to give the coleslaw another stir, because the vinegar is just sitting at the bottom. So, and then I'll go and put that back down to rest. Time to turn the chicken over. What I've got to do here, because there's so much of it, I'm just going to put the spoon there, and I'm using the tongs. I'm just going to turn the individual pieces of chicken over. What I'll do is I'll turn it all over, and then I will come back. So that's all turned over. So gochujang is actually a Korean sauce. You can get spicy gochujang, but in my house we don't really eat too much spicy food. So we've just gone for the spicy and savoury. It is so mild. So that's the one we've gone for. It's the one we always go for. Just got the sweet potato wedges out, and they are starting to cook really nicely. They're soft, or softening up. They're starting to go a little bit crispy in some places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on 150 degrees for another 5 minutes. And then what I'll do is I'll take them out and turn them over. When I was saying about the chicken and a lot of water, this hasn't been cooking very long as it took me to take the wedges out of the air fryer, bring them out, have a look at them, and put them back in. There is a lot of liquid in this chicken. So basically now all we're doing is boiling it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly strain it off, get rid of all the juice, so then we can start again with the gochujang. That's now drained and put back on the heat, so that's now going to start frying instead of boiling. As you've probably noticed by now, a few of my recipes, they have garlic in. So this one's no different. We're going to put about a teaspoon of garlic, not too much, because we don't want it to overpower it. So put in a teaspoon of lazy garlic. You can get this from most supermarkets. I think this one here was about £1.20 or something like that. So it's not expensive. I know that a garlic bulb would be cheaper, but it doesn't last as long as what the lazy garlic does. And you don't have to work it to peel it, cut it. There's none of that goes with it. So stir all that in, and just let that work together for a minute. And now we want this chicken to start browning off. To check to see if the chicken's cooked, all you have to do is get a piece of chicken, a knife, cut it in half, and if it is cooked, both pieces will be white in the middle. So I'll get a big piece here, move them bits aside. Cut it, and it's white in the middle. But this isn't the whole cooking process, so it will continue to cook for the whole time. Starting to get browner now, so what we've got to do is we've got to add our gochujang paste. This whole process goes quite quickly, so it's actually around half a jar of gochujang paste, not a lot. So as I said at the beginning of the video, it's quite an expensive meal, but when you start breaking it down, I'm just going to turn this right down, when you start breaking it, pricing it down, that's now 2 meals that I've got out of that tub of gochujang. So what we're going to do is coat all the chicken. It's all got to be coated nicely. It doesn't take long at all. I've got this down now to the lowest possible heat. Whilst I was doing that, I've had to remove it off the heat because the wedges have decided that they need to come out right when I'm in the middle of something. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn them over. The skins on them are getting nice and crispy, so I'm going to put them back in for another 5 minutes because the gochujang is not going to take long at all, and then the whole dish will come together. Right, gochujang back on the heat again. So all we've got to do now is we add just a drizzle of water. It's not a lot at all. Literally, I don't even know if you can see it on the video, but there is just a little bit of water in there. That's just for anything to stop it sticking, and if any of the sauce is stuck to the pan at all or grabbing onto the pan, it will stop it. So I'm now going to turn this up to just under a medium heat. We don't want it too hot at all. It will start sizzling straight away. Next step, just clear honey. You don't need anything specific, just clear runny honey. This doesn't cost a lot at all. You're looking at probably about 70-80p. All you do is 1 big tablespoon of honey to go in there. Let's get it all off. And that's that. And then all we do is literally stir the chicken through the honey. With the gochujang, the liquid's in there. With that piece of liquid, it will soon reduce down to nothing and everything will stick to the chicken. So the chicken will be nice and sticky. Now whilst we do that, and that's just finishing off, what we do is go back to the coleslaw mix again, stir it around, have a little taste, see if you need to add more to it. No, that's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to grab a teaspoon, put about half a teaspoon of sugar in there, mix that about so it's all mixed in. And that's just going to take the edge off that vinegar. Now all we do is open the wraps. 2 wraps per person. Get some coleslaw and then just lay some coleslaw on it. You don't want too, well, it's up to you how much you want on, because it's actually a very delicious coleslaw. This is why it's one of my favourites, because it's nice and light meal with the chicken, and it's just got this in it, and it just makes it that extra bit tasty. So what we'll do is we'll put those on the plate out of the way for a minute, because I've got to put the chicken over here, and I'm going to put that on the chopping board. So as it stands at the moment, that's what they look like, just like that. So we're going to lay the chicken down the middle. So chicken's coming off the pan, off the heat. It's going over here. And then what we will do is, I'm just going to move this up so we can see a little bit more. Right, so all I'm going to do is lay the chicken on the top, like so. You look to get probably about 4 or 5 pieces per wrap. Like I say, this is for 3 people, so there's quite a lot of chicken here. In actual fact, you'd probably be able to get 3 wraps each if you really wanted to. And then it is just a literal fold in the middle. You don't actually wrap these. You eat them as if you were eating them like that. You just fold them and wrap them yourself. So it's not actually wrapping them up. So we just put them to the side, like so. I'm just going to remove the chicken from here, go over to the air fryer and get the potato wedges out. They are now cooked. So now I'm just going to put some of those on the plate, and that is one dished up